chaotic ravings and finite exposure and whatever else we, eventually come up with. We are doing an interview with the animated woman, JC Little. Um, since this is kind of, Matt's thing, I'm gonna let him, run with this and have fun. Unless I have something like competent and worthwhile to add, I'm just gonna be kind of an observer. So, whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay. Add people to call. The animated woman. There we go. Are you there?
Hi.
Hello.
I'm here.
I don't know why. I've seen you talk a few times, and it never occurred to me what you were going to sound like on the other end. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen videos with her, so I should know this.
Yeah, you should know my voice by now.
Yeah, well, the one time I really got to listen to it was your. Was it Blog Her? When you did the video
Yeah.
presentation.
Right.
And had everybody joining in. That was cute.
Thanks.
I'm
going to be famous for the dubious subject of pinworms.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now, do you come to the U.S. very often? I know you live in Canada, but I think you try to come here for conventions every now and then.
Yeah, because I like to meet up with I like to come down to meet with the people that I know from the internet, and I like to meet them in real life. So whenever there's a conference that's where a lot of them are going to convene, I try to go, and Blog Her has been really the one for that so far.
Where is that hosted?
It's in different places every year. The first one I went to was 2 years ago, and it was in New York City. And then last summer, it was in Chicago. And I think this summer it's going to be San Jose or San something on the West Coast.
Let me know if you get to Minneapolis. That's in my home state, so I can just drive right up there.
Right, yeah. I would definitely let you know. I would love to meet you.
Oh, well, now, I'm trying to think of when I found you. That was a very long time ago.
Come on. We're dinosaurs here, man.
Oh man. I joke with people because I got on the internet first in like 1995. So I've seen just about everything possible on the internet at some point. So, but right. It makes remembering when I actually found people really hard.
Yeah.
I think it was with OMG versus WTF.
Okay, maybe that one was that one made a bit of a splash, so it's possible.
Yeah, that was the first video I remember. Anyway, I'm sure I saw your posts before that, but that was the first video I remember seeing. And of course, Fuckman is my absolute favorite of all time, because whenever I tell somebody about that, they just look offended. And it's like, no, okay, let me spell the part out for you. And especially on chaotic ravings every now and then. Not so much with finite exposure, but with chaotic ravings, especially if I just want to be goofy for the show break, I will play it.
Oh, good.
Just to see what people's reactions are. I play the musical one because that's actually very nice. I like that musical one. I've actually got it on my
husband made.
Yeah.
The Fuckman himself actually made the music, so.
Nobody believes me when I tell the story of that, though. So do you want to explain how that came about?
Yeah, Fuckman was actually, it was just moments of exasperation had piled up and overwhelmed the Huz. And he was sitting at dinner one evening. We were the whole family together with the kids and everything, and he just rolled his eyes and said, "I'm gonna make a new superhero. and my superpower is going to be the the power of exasperation, and I'm just going to be like, "Fuck, man," you know. And I thought that was funny. But I just said we have to do a little film that would be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so and the whole frequently unanswered questions, which is what FUQ was supposedly stands for. That was my idea, and I think it kind of came together rather well. And then I asked him to do the music for it, and I thought he did a splendid job. And with me on backing vocals, of course.
Yeah, I actually, when did I posted that a little while ago. And one of my friends identified Pickle Weasel right off the bat. I'm like, dude, I didn't know that you watched that. That's kind of cool. Wait a minute, where's...
That's funny. Yeah, a few people picked Pickle Weasel out. I just, throw these little in jokes in for my my fans and following.
I actually, one time when I was in World of Warcraft, I came across, he was very rude, but I came across somebody with the username Pickle Weasel.
Oh, funny.
I'm like, well, I hope I know where you got that. But
it's from that TV show, Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, okay.
When he was like a teenager, he was in that TV show. I can't remember the name of it. I never watched it because I don't really watch TV because I'm too busy making TV
Right.
to actually have time to watch. But yeah, what was that TV show that he was in? And he said Pickle Weasel's a funny word, a really funny word. And that. Do you remember the name of that show? I can't remember it.
No, I'm another person who does not watch TV. In fact, I've got what they call a Roku box. It's a streaming. It's kind of like the video of what not Xbox, Wii does. Where you get the different channels like Amazon Prime and Hulu and stuff like that. But
yeah.
They have a developer part, so you get a lot of private channels and stuff like that. Like PBS is the big one that they just came out with their own Roku channel, and there's a guy that has.
That sounds really geeky.
Oh yeah, it's a really good geek thing, but there's so much on it that now I don't need cable, so I just don't watch it. It's saving me.
My problem is time.
Oh, I can't say that.
Yeah, I just don't have. Yeah.
I've got plenty of time.
Anyway, I just searched the show. It was a show called That 70s Show, and it was a character named Kelso. And at the end of the show, or sometime during the show, they always had this circle where all the friends would sit, and they would, the camera would rotate from one person to the next. And every time it hit Ashton Kutcher, who was Kelso, he would say, "Pickle Weasel's a funny word," and he would just laugh and laugh. And so it kind of turned into a meme.
Right.
And I think that show was around in the 70s. So that's where Pickle Weasel originated as a meme. It may be before that it had this dark sexual meaning, that of some girl who was basically a.
Yeah.
So there's other meanings out there, and I can understand why your friend on World of Warcraft was being rude, and that was his name. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it was probably more along the lines of the Ashton Kutcher thing than your Pickle Weasel. And that kind of makes me sad. It's like, I know Pickle Weasel. Pickle Weasel is cool. He's got his own app, for crying out loud. But now is that coming out for Android yet? The Pickle Weasel app?
Actually, I have to. I've been so busy with books and like book promotion and stuff like that. I haven't really followed up on my my programmer for that app. They had promised that it was going to come out for iPhone in January, and of course, January's passed, and I really need to check that out. Thanks for reminding me. I really dropped the ball on Pickle Weasel because I have no time. Like I was just saying, it's a lot of work to create something, and then it's like 5 times as much work to promote it.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's really if you had your webcam on, you would see that it's just me sitting in this room doing everything. You know, sometimes I get some help from my husband, but really it's just me. I'm just one person, and it's a lot to do. So something's
Yeah.
got to give, you know, and it's usually sleep.
Oh yeah. Well, and I've noticed, like I follow you.
Yeah.
I follow artist who lives in Montana, and a lot of people that I've found are the most successful are the ones who do it all themselves. And I think part of that is because they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, they know what they're promoting.
you do have more control, but yeah, exactly. No one can know your product as well as you do unless it's, you know, someone who's, well, really a hardcore fan, put it that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of work to promote and to market. And I can definitely promote, but market is something else. And I really don't like, I'm not comfortable doing it, you know? It's really hard. It's hard, and it takes a lot of time. And honestly, I'd much rather be drawing my next thing.
Right.
So that's probably why Pickle Weasel fell to this, you know, fell to the wayside, is because I didn't have the time or the will to market that little bugger.
Well, you've
But
actually.
here's something, okay?
Oh,
I
go
do
ahead.
have a lot of Pickle Weasel content, and I'm gonna do a series of probably 3 to 5 Pickle Weasel books just with the drawings I did of him on Draw Something, because it's going to be a lot easier and faster for me to use that content and, you know, have it as just another series of books rather than, you know, an app, which is another market that I have to tap into that I don't have. So with the book market, which is pretty much the same as my, you know, my blog market, it's going to be a lot easier. So I think I'm going to release that content that way. So Pickle Weasel will rise like a phoenix from the ashes.
Well, like I was going to say, with your blog, you really don't need to worry about marketing. That thing's one of the best tools you could possibly have, because you've been doing that blog for a very long time.
You think?
Oh yeah, I actually
Well, I guess so.
I used to do internet marketing, and the way I did it was through what they call a splash page. It'd be, you know, and mine were all simple. It's just a plain white page and my picture so they'd know who it was, and then just a brief description and click here to learn more. And the funny thing I found is that I was on what they call the traffic exchange, which is a worthless way of promoting, but it burns away time, where you're on this program where you surf around other people's websites. Like, you'll log in and boom, here's this website you're looking at. Well, you look at it for like 10 seconds, you push next, boom, you're on another site. The problem I was finding is that they're timed. They're like 10 or 15 seconds, and people were just using like the website created ones, which are real, you know, tons of information, and, you know, it takes like 3 minutes just to look over it. And mine, I mean, I wasn't earning anything, but I was getting a lot of feedback because mine took like 3 seconds to read. So with your blog, you've got people who are at the right thing. They're used to coming in. You've got blog posts, okay? Yeah, I'll be here for 3 or 4 minutes. You know, I'll read over it. I'll read the responses. I'll surf around. When you've got people that used to coming and spending their own time willingly, that's a great way to advertise, because you don't have to worry about doing something big to get them to do their time. They'll willingly come and do it. That's great. And I know a lot of people who would kill to figure that one out.
Maybe it's Do you think it's because there's drawings or just because I'm niche?
I'd say it was a little bit of everything. You do drawings, but your drawings almost always have a story. The way you write and explain them is very witty. Everything about you is your own style. So yeah, you're a niche person, but because you're so well established, it's easy for people to find you, and it's easy for people, like if I were to refer people on Pride 48 to say, if you're looking for, cute humor thing or ironic humor thing, go here. It's perfect. And it is.
Right,
I mean,
right.
like I said, WTF versus OMG. I don't think anybody else could have come up with that. It's just so unique to your style. So or the snowflake ones that you've done over Christmas are just really unique. So
Yeah.
if somebody looks at one thing for you and they think they like it, they don't have to worry about, well, this may have just been a special thing. If they find one thing they like, they're hooked because it's all along the same thing. And that's
Thanks.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're an artist, that can be kind of good or bad because, like you want to go out, you want to try different things. That's fine. But if you've got a market, if you've got a set thing where people know you for this and they like you for this, I think even now, I live in the U.S., unfortunately, so I know you also did a TV show. I did not get a chance to see that, but from what I've seen in the clips, it follows a lot of the same logic and the same humor as your YouTube videos, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
So again, even moving into a new thing, you're keeping that same style. So people go and they see your TV show, they say, well, I want to learn more. It's not like a movie producer who could do thriller and horror and rom-com and everything. If they see you, they know what they're getting. So
I do. I like to inject that kind of whatever humor it is, ironic humor, or a little. I like to poke fun at human foibles, and that's always been my thing. So yeah, I think I did. You're right. I did carry that all through my TV series, and now in my little independent films. So, and my stories. So yeah, that's, even though they look completely different, because the person who designed the characters and the art direction for the TV series, that was not me. That was a really good friend of mine named Svetlana Chmakova, and she's a manga artist, widely read, and she's been published by Tokyo Pop and Yen. So she was the one who designed that, the manga feel, and she came on as a co-creator basically, and a wonderful writer named Cindy Filipenko, also a really good friend of mine, was also a co-creator. So the three of us, we put that together from a concept that I had. And it worked really well for us, and it sold around the world. The only people that it did not resonate with were the American youth, who the show was really about them. When the show was created in 2005, they were 13 and 14 years old. So it was really about them, these kids who were drawing and writing their own manga.
Right.
And when they discovered the show via YouTube clips, which were uploaded by fans from around the world, Canada and France, and I mean it played as far away as China and other countries in the Far East and across Europe. So when people in the U.S. who were, I guess at that time, 20, 21, and having fun on different forums like 4chan and other places where they talk about anime and animation and manga and so on. When they discovered it, there was like a massive hate on. It was incredible. It's very short lived, but it's super intense. And they found my blog and totally took a choreographed and simultaneous dump on it. so that was really interesting. You learn a lot about swarms and stuff like that. But what was really funny about that, sorry for diverting the whole conversation here, but it was so interesting. What was really funny about that was that when the hate for My Life Me, the show was called My Life Me, when the hate started to spawn, I had discovered it because when the show was released, I was surfing and searching all the time. I had Google notifications for the my name and the name of the show because I wanted to, of course, see what the reaction was, and I found it on numerous different websites and forums on the internet, and I saw it start. And when it finally hit my blog, I was ready for it. So those kind of things are funny because they were basically leaving hater comments and their own opinions. They're entitled to their opinions, right? They didn't like the show.
Right.
It struck a nerve with them, sure. And I allowed them their opinions, but I defend my vision because it worked really well. And for a lot of people, the target, which was 8 to 12-year-old kids, it also worked really well. So they were screen capping their comments on my blog, their outrageous hater comments, and and then posting their screen caps on their little forums, which I would then screen cap because for posterity, right?
Right.
So it was funny. I was screen capping their screen caps. It was hilarious.
Well, and
Yeah.
One thing I know, I've at least listened to you since then because I remember when you posted the animation, the thank you for the upside down pyramid thing, which is really cute. But I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember you talking about that. So I don't think I could remember that far back unless you told me the year.
Yeah, it's probably just after that. I think it was 2010, something like that. 2011? No, it must have been 2012. Let me just quickly check here. TV series. When did that go up? Yeah, 2011.
Okay.
2011. And then the hatedom started, soon after. 2012. So it was soon after. It was early 2012. So it took them a couple of months.
Yeah,
in September.
I do not understand how people could hate that. It really confuses me because there's nothing really all that bad to it from what I've seen. You're Canadian person talking about U.S., which, come on, even the U.S. makes fun of itself, so there can't be that.
I wasn't talking about U.S. I was talking about adolescents.
Okay.
And the majority of the adolescents who were into that kind of thing were, I guess, in the U.S. And
okay.
These people really viewed themselves as defenders of anime and manga, and they didn't like seeing themselves, I guess, portrayed. And they had some beefs with the animation because it wasn't actually anime; it was animated manga style. But
right.
Anime is basically an art, a way of producing animation economically, and so it has certain little tricks that that people use in traditional animation, traditional hand-drawn animation, where some scenes are really fully animated. The animation is on fours. It isn't, on ones or twos. So it has it covers a broader movement when it's fully animated with fewer drawings. That gives it a certain particular look. They'll have a lot of holds where the mouth just moves, right? Open and shut, open and shut. And it's beautifully designed, but we were working from a budget with, basically that was animated digitally. So we have a bank of body parts we can use, and that's it. There was no budget for hair flowing in the wind or anything like that. It was a TV series. We're making sausages here. We're not making, and it's not animated by hand, so it's automatically going to have a different look, and we had to work with that. Yeah. So they were saying, this is terrible. This is really shitty, terrible anime. Well, it's not anime. If you really know anime and you know animation, you know that that's not anime. You understand where anime comes from. So it was interesting. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Watching all of that.
Now, Chaos is the anime person. Like I said, I don't watch much TV. There have been a couple of animes that sometimes I might not like the whole thing. Sometimes it'll just be one episode that does it, or I may get lucky and like all of it. But that's one that's one thing. And again, I was born in the 70s, so I mean I've seen a lot of different styles come and go. And it's to this point right now, and I do the same with movies. Like, a lot of people will say, like, The Avengers is not a good movie, for storytelling. I don't know what the heck movie they saw, but I look at movies like that. It's like, can I sit down, have a bag of popcorn, and enjoy it? I don't expect anything else from a movie, and it's the same for animation. It's like, okay, if the animation is different, that's fine. Do I like the story? Do I enjoy having watched it? I don't care about anything else. I've seen everything from, Hellsing, which is anime, to, the Avengers, to even, the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, which I love because it was...
yeah.
Oh, that I love Tom Baker, and seeing him as a villain was just amazing. It really makes me wish that he had never been on Doctor Who, because he did so good as a villain. And then he was Doctor Who, and now he's a good guy. It's like, well, nuts. But I liked Ray Harryhausen's stop motion graphics.
Yes, that's what grabbed me when I was a kid, was seeing that snake lady who came out of that urn. Oh my God.
Yes.
The animation, I was completely blown away. I mean, those were the kinds of things that I loved about those movies, the animation, stop motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my favorite was...
But, not everyone is like you. I mean, I think a lot of people are, but not everyone is going to, a lot people are critical. Everyone's a director, right?
Right.
Everyone wants to to be critical and say, well, this isn't what I would have done. Well, go and do what you would have done.
Yeah, if you think it's so easy, you'll go do it. I mean, anybody who says that to me about podcasting, I said, well, you know what? I started podcasting in March of 2006. So I've been around a while, and yes, my stuff is very simplistic, but it's what works for me. I come on, and me and Chaos do 2 shows. We do Chaotic Ravings, which will be on in a couple of hours, and then we do one called Finite Exposure. They are both 2-hour shows. Now, everybody else on Pride 48, at least, is a 1-hour show. And I hear some of them, they'll come on and they won't know what to talk about. And it's like, well, aren't you lucky? You only got 30 minutes to fill. Think of it, if we both come on and we got nothing to talk about, we got 2 hours worth of stuff we have to find. And that's when Yeah.
it's challenging.
And when
And is your show always live or what?
yes, that's the other thing.
Huh?
We on Pride 48, which we're streaming on right now. We are live Sundays 4 to 6, and then on
Ah,
Jackalope FM Mondays, and that's 6 to 8. But it's live all the time, which means if we screw up, that we have no way to. I don't edit these because they're live. I don't see any point in editing it. The downside is people listen
right.
to it and they're like, "Well, that was bad, and this isn't very well made." It's like this is the show. If you were live, you would have heard. I don't see the point in saying, "Well, okay, it's live for these people, but for these people who listen in, they're going to get the dollied up and all that version." No, that's
Right.
more work than I want to put
So
into
people
it.
are listening to me talking right now.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
we have the GFN General is sitting in the chat room, and I'm trying to stream it on First Stream, and it's broadcasting and it's recording, but for some reason it isn't playing on there. So, but I want to upload this to YouTube, and this is the easiest way to do it. So
is Chaos there now too?
yes, Chaos is there.
Oh yes, I've been listening and observing.
Oh, lurker.
No. See, when Matt brought this to me, I'm like, Matt, you know what? It's gonna be early in the morning. I generally won't have had my first cup of tea by then. Run with it.
And he says this
just
to
kind of sitting here going, I'm trying to.
he says this to somebody who's on his.
Part of the world, then?
Yeah, we are. I'm in Minnesota, and Chaos is in Washington State.
Right.
So.
Ah.
Yeah, Sundays I'm not a morning person.
Right. I get it. Me neither. Any day of the week, actually.
Yeah, and I fully understand. And yeah, I've been sitting here just listening and observing, and I'm sitting there going, okay, finding out what notes. It's kind of like brought me up during the anime thing. I'm like, hello.
I was waiting for you on that. It's like, oh, anime. This is all Chaos. He should have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about now.
Yeah, Chaos, jump in. Come on, jump in.
Oh yeah, well, okay, it's not really. It's pretty much well-known fact, especially from doing all the shows, that I'm a big old anime geek. I really, I'm actually an otaku. Okay. And I use that under the proper term of pretty much I sit around the house going, ooh, anime. But yeah, it's been kind of an ongoing joke and back and forth. I keep throwing random shows. I'm like, you need to watch this show. You need to watch this show. You need to watch this show. Look at the art of this one. And he sits there and goes,
See, the problem is he still has cable. So he will go on, and it's like, hey, Adult Swim had this. Hey, Cartoon Show. I'm like, dude, I don't have cable. Is it on Netflix? No. Is it on Hulu? No. Then find it for me, or I can't watch it. That's my problem right now.
Yeah.
And the even funnier thing is I'll sit there and go, here it is on Hulu, and he still doesn't watch it. I think the perfect case in point is what was it? Hellsing. And
yes.
I'm a big fan. I like Hellsing. I love Hellsing myself, and it's kind of the go-to anime for some people. They did the they've got the original series, and then they've got the OVAs, the original video animations, and and you can tell the production quality is vastly different between the two and this and that. And I'm like, here, it's on Hulu. Watch all the episodes. Get your blood and gore. Get your Schrodinger's cat on, And he still hasn't watched it, and the whole thing's on Hulu now. And I'm not whoring myself to Hulu. I just,
okay. In my defense, I used to have a Hulu Plus account. This was apparently back in the day before they figured out they could wring money out of Hulu Plus as well. When you were on Hulu Plus, you didn't get commercials. And that's why I subscribed, is because I want to sit down, Helsing episodes are about 20 minutes. Okay, I got 20 minutes. I don't want to have to spend 30 minutes because I have to skip commercials and all that. Now Hulu Plus has commercials, so it's like, dang it. I still love it. In fact, I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday looking for it, and the one he was talking about, the one that I like, the old one, I think came out in 2003, so nobody has it anymore. So now I'm going to have to go on Hulu because it's gone. But yeah, one thing real quick for JC, if I'm correct, you've never been on a podcast, have you?
I've been on Google Hangout kind of things, I guess, but not really that much. I mean, yeah, I've been on a couple of interviews. I just didn't know that, this is what they were called, because people called them Hangouts, and I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this is probably one of my first. There you go, Cherry Pop.
Woohoo!
It's kind of like the horseback riding joke kind of thing.
I'm scared to ask. I used to live on a ranch and I don't know this joke, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I should feel about this.
Roll it out, Chaos.
I'm trying to. Okay, it's kind of like, honestly, if you're a rancher's daughter by like the age of 16, pure virginal crap like that, but by medical standards, you're not a virgin anymore because, well, like most things, accidents happen, and women lose their hymen. And I don't know why the hell I'm talking about this live on the air.
You're the one who started this.
I think I'm a pretty good interviewer because I got you to actually say that.
Yes. Yeah,
I already knew what it was because, I'm a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, for a woman, I would hope you know. I will fully admit I am probably the greatest traitor to the male species on the planet. Sort of
probably me, actually.
Yeah, sort of you. You're just kind of a eunuch at this point, sir.
Oh, so okay. I was a Buddhist monk. Now I'm a eunuch. Is that good or bad?
It's a sliding scale.
Okay. Sideways, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, you kind of dragging your ass on the carpet like a dog.
Okay, now what's sad is I had a dog who actually did that, so thank you so much for the memories.
My dog does that, all right, and I've done drawings of my dog doing that.
Yes,
so there.
I
win.
Yes,
it's kind of like the joke of if it exists on the internet, there's porn of it. So I'm sure Rule 34 is gonna come in eventually, and there's gonna be a picture of Rendal dragging his ass on a carpet.
They need to find a picture. I say they need to find a picture of me, and I've been on the net since '95. If they can't find a picture of me, they aren't looking hard enough.
Anyways,
I've seen a picture of you. I've seen a picture of you in costume for some play that you were going to be in.
Yes, I do theater on occasion over here, so
yes.
It's fun. But I'm a very introverted person, so I'm usually scared to death the whole time I'm up there. And it's one of those things. It's like, okay, remember. Oh, good, I'm off stage. And that's my acting style. It's like tiptoe. Okay, quick, blurt it out, run.
Well, that's good. I'm actually a very shy person too. And I'm terrified, even just like right now. I'm like really, really scared and shy.
The good thing about podcasting, though, is that nobody sees you. So
there's no video.
It's the old joke of working at home. You can have a real nice shirt on top and be sitting in your underwear and socks. Okay, it's not what you look like. It's just this is a way to speak out, get your thoughts out, and not have to worry about dressing up or, being socially awkward when you're doing it because nobody sees you.
That's kind of true in a way. And I can also lead everyone to believe that I'm actually reclining right now in a beautiful red satin dress with, a low cut and soft lighting and candles. Right? And you could believe me. It could be true, right?
Oh, you're all geared up for Valentine's Day there. It sounds like.
Right. Well, I
Or
am
really
the
Black
animated
Sunday.
woman. So unfortunately, it's unfortunate that you can't see me gesticulating wildly and making all kinds of funny faces, but I'm
That is the.
totally picture them.
I will admit that is the downside to podcasting is you can't sit there and do the wild gestures and things like that because completely useless.
Right. Well, you can say things like, "Oh, radio gesture," or
Well, I'm one of these people who oh, who was it? It was one of the Coast to Coast hosts said I've got a face for radio and a voice for print. And I just love that line. Was that Ian? Was that Ian? I think his name was Ian something. But he came on like once a week or something. He'd be one of the fill-in hosts, and that was his first tagline. Like, dude, you're awesome. And ever since then, that's been my tagline too. I've got a face for radio and a voice for print. So
is that in your bio?
it should be. Honestly, it should be. That should be one of my quotes.
Yeah.
My other quote that I like that I just listened to it again is, "What can be so bad in a world where so many people are smiling?" And that was a there's a comic me and Chaos know called To the Ranting Griffin. And he experimented with he used to do podcasts or little blurbs. He'd make an audio rant. He tried something called LSD, which is yeah. Well, it sounded like he was narrating an LSD trip. It's called a lucid sonic delusion, and there were two of them. One was called the hole, and one was called the box. And the hole is where that line comes from, and it is it's kind of almost like a creep show or Tales from the Crypt. It's a real subtle, slow building horror. But he narrates it so well, you just like listening to it. So if you look him up, his webpage, I believe he wanted to do a whole album. But this was like 8 or 9 years ago, and he never did. If I see him at a convention, that's the first question. It's like, dude, where's my LSD album? I've been waiting patiently for almost a decade now. I want this album.
So what's his webpage?
It should be ranting-griffin.com, I believe. And there will be a link to audio, and the LSDs should be in there.
Okay. I found him.
There I am. Yeah.
It's a Griffin with a Y and a PH.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's not GRFF, it's GRY. But yeah, Stu is actually a real fun comedian. He also works with another comedian slash I'm not sure really vlogger is the best way to put it. Vlogger of Uncle Kage. And I'm trying to remember his name. His name is Samuel
Conway.
Conway, thank you. Samuel Conway is his real name. And again, these are actually trained comedians. They're real fun guys, real laugh riot kind of dudes. And but it's just like that works. And they do things, and they're big in the furry community, and they're furries themselves, and they do that kind of thing.
Okay, before you go on, do you know what that is, JC?
No.
Oh boy.
Wait a second. You talking about furries?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do know what they are. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not talking the CSI, fur and loathing episode.
Are you gonna spell it out for the listeners?
Yeah.
Come on, Chaos, you can do this.
No, actually,
this I don't have this one.
I'm the furry of the group, so I've been I got into it it was actually funny when I first got my own internet connection in '96. It was like the first thing I found. So, because all I had back then are news groups, so I was browsing the news groups, and it's like, what is this? And I've been hooked ever since. It's basic.
So,
It's basically for the uninitiated, shall we say. Furries are people who like the concept of what some people call funny cartoon characters, like Wile E. Coyote, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, things that are animal based but have human qualities.
they're
The,
anthropomorphized.
right, that's the $5 word. It's anthropomorphics, and if you want to, both Tu and Kage, when they go to furry conventions, they will often host a panel like furries in media or what is a furry, and they spell it out very well. Furries in the media is a good one because he's talking about how to talk to the media about it safely.
Yeah, I
So that
I'm
if
gonna
you
interject
want,
here. I actually,
okay, go for it.
I like I like the furries on the media thing that Sam Conway does, because if you just remove like furry and interchange it with geek, or you interchange it with crazy religious nutter kind of thing, you can sit there and get you can sit there and go, wait a minute, this is how you can deal with bad PR at almost any time, and avoid bad PR. Even though the saying goes, "There's no such thing as bad PR," that's horse crap.
Oh yeah, that's we were just talking about that with JC's show earlier, and you had a great idea. I think you just sat there, you let them talk, and you just let it go off your back. Basically, that's what you have to do.
I did respond to them. I thought it was important to respond to them and allow them their point of view. There's a difference between haters and trolls. They're
Right.
completely different. And haters are related to fans. In some cases, they even consider themselves to be fans because they give you their attention. And if you have their attention, and that means they're giving you their time and their energy, and so hate and love are kind of two cheeks of the same asshole, really, you know. And so on my blog, when they started commenting, some of them were attacking me, and they were saying why they didn't like the show, and I was like, well, you're entitled to not like it, but you have to remember that you're not the target. You're not the audience that it was created for. And in the end, what happened was a couple of them asked me to interview for their forums. So I did a couple of interviews, and they were asking me about my history in animation, and I have a really long history. I mean, I'm over a 30-year animation person from the ground up. I've worked in almost every department, right up to production, and now having my own little company. And they had to bow down and show some respect for that, I guess. In the end, they decided that they liked me. They didn't like my show, but I was okay.
Right.
So after that, the hate-dom totally went away. It just completely diffused it. And you know what? I missed them afterwards.
Yeah, well, because, like Chaos said, there are times when any kind of attention is good attention. The best attention, I would say, is what you ended up with, where you get somebody who's, shall we say, an obsessed fan. There's somebody who looks so into things that they will pick the little things just because they love it that much. They could be haters.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can talk to them like you did. It's like, okay, we don't necessarily like this, but we really like her. Now, one thing quick, was that how you came up with the idea of the troll?
No, the troll was an actual troll, someone trolling my blog and like insulting me just to try to hurt me, which I thought was really funny. That was before, so I guess 2010 sometime.
Yeah.
So
one other thing on your show,
And the haters did not like it. The haters did not like it when I said, are you trolling me? And I actually sent them the link to the troll post, and they were like, "We're not trolls. We're not trolls." They were really offended. We're not trolls. We're haters.
yeah, there.
So it's not the same.
No, there is a difference, though. Not many people. Again, it's like any other definition. Unless you know what it is, it's easy to confuse it.
Yes, exactly.
I do have one other question on your TV show. Is that out on DVD? Because I would love to see it, but I might need a multi-regional thing for that.
I don't think it's actually on DVD yet. I know that it's playing somewhere in the States. Something called PBJ. It's some kind of cable. Sorry.
Oh, PBS.
Sorry,
PBS?
no, PBJ. It's some kind of remote cable station, and that's the only place that I know that it's available in the U.S. so far. I mean, the people who have the rights to the show, it's called Classic Media. They own the distribution rights. And one thing I just found out, though, is that it's playing in Mexico. And I know that because one of the main characters' voice actor, like the dub, the voice actor for one of the four main characters, contacted me on Facebook, and he was like, "Hi, I just wanted to reach out and say hi. I'm the voice actor for the Liam character, and I just wanted to say hi." And so they're doing the South American. The South American version is being recorded. And broadcast as it's recorded. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so you've got a multinational cartoon there for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it did play all around the world. The only place where it didn't really catch on was the States. And in Canada, it played on the French side, was nominated for, the French version was nominated for our equivalent of the Emmys,
Right.
Which is called Gemini Award. It was nominated for a Gemini Award for the French version. The English version, actually, the broadcaster who paid for the show in a co-production with France and Canada, they restructured just at the time when it was supposed to be broadcast. And restructuring that whole company caused it to be delayed. The release was delayed for 2 years. And you can imagine the producers and, me and my co-creators and a whole team, all the animators, everyone who worked on it, everyone was totally stressed out by this because we were going out of our minds. Our show was basically aging. And so, yeah, 2 years is a long time for a show to be delayed. And when they finally did broadcast it, they broadcast every single episode, I think, in 2 weeks. Yeah. And then they had fulfilled their mandate, and their whole mandate for animation and shows that they were broadcasting at that time, because of a lot of reasons, had changed, and they were no longer broadcasting shows like that. They only wanted shows for action adventure shows for boys 9-year-old. Right. So it was really terrible, a real blow for the show. And but it did, get it, like I said, a healthy little short-lived hatedom in the U.S.
Well, thanks to the GFN General, who, if you ever talk to somebody who's on Pride 48, he's the person who will listen to a show with the Google safe search off. Anytime he hears a keyword, he will type it in and post what he finds. So I know what the PBJ network is. It's a very small network yet, but it's got like 21 affiliates right now. And you've actually got a lot of good company on here. You've got, dating myself here, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. is on it.
Yeah.
He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and She-Ra are both on it. Mr.
Godzilla.
Magoo, Godzilla, Mr. Magoo. It's like, I'm just just a lot. Ghostbusters, Brave Star of all things, which I didn't even know was still out there. But yeah, it's a brand. It's
the Brave Star.
I'm not knocking it, but I saw Brave Star in like 1987, and I've never seen it again. So the fact somebody even remembers it is surprising. But yeah,
That's so funny. I wonder. Like I said, the distributor is Classic Media.
yeah.
And I think that they're actually owned by DreamWorks now. If I'm not mistaken, they were recently bought by DreamWorks. Is that right?
It's a joint venture between DreamWorks and Lucan Communications.
That's it.
And Lucan Communications is who owns PBJ, which is why it's on there.
Oh,
They're-
exactly right. Okay.
And according to your Wikipedia page, you're airing in 4 countries right now: Mexico, the U.S.,
Oh, there you go.
Germany, and Norway. So that's cool. Yeah,
Cool.
I clicked on here to see if there was any word of DVD, but there isn't yet. But I'm sure it will come out.
It would be cool to see it on Netflix or something like that, you know.
I'm sure. Well, okay, you've got what looks like. Oh, there's a whole bunch of episodes here. But yeah, if you should talk to them about that and oh, sorry, hold on a second. My computer is old, so every now and then the live feed, my program that I'm recording on hitches, so everybody gets kind of off key. So
Okay.
there we go.
That's okay. Yeah, I was just saying there's 52 episodes of My Life Me, and they're 11 minutes each. So
That's quite a bit of time there.
it's basically 90 hours a week for 2 years of my life.
Yeah.
Well, that's just production, right? Never mind the pre-production. Oh man, it took. Well, you saw that little flip film that I did, right? Which was the story of Urs. If anyone wants to know what it takes to make a TV series, that film tells it all.
And you would be surprised. Like I'm not going to even begin to say that I'm intelligent in like TV or stuff, but there are times when I like watching the credits, and I'm familiar enough, doing theater now, and my sister's husband actually works in theater too. So I've heard enough of those things that I knew about some of them. But the bigger that pyramid got, the more and more I realized you have a lot of unsung people there that even if you watch the credits, you might not hear about. For what you see in the credits, you can almost double that list of people working on it, just never make it into the credits. So it's nice when you do stuff like that. It's like, you'll see these names. You can you can watch the credits and probably put these two together. But just in case of, like, you had the caterer, I think, on there. You had the key grips and the like second hand grips, and you never think about that. That's the stuff that people point to in the movie credits, like, they credited the caterer. Well, with how much time people spend out there, the caterer is probably making them like 3 or 4 meals a day. So you're gonna get.
It wasn't the caterer. It was the sandwich man.
Oh, the sandwich man. Yes.
Oh, sandwich man, the sandwich seller.
But
yeah, see, and this is where I'll throw in my couple of 2 cents, pardon the joke here. I've worked, behind the scenes production, especially on like stage stuff and whatnot. It's a weird kind of double-edged sword. Some people will sit there and go, "Hey, I'm willing to be in the credits." Other people are sitting there going, "I'm just doing my job." So you don't really need to take the time and the money, and because a word will cost like $5 to put in there and put in the credits for some reason. So they don't want to go over the budget or anything like that. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
in the world of TV animation, they're bound by contract to make sure everyone gets in. They can't guarantee that the broadcaster will actually broadcast the show right up till the end of the credits, and the broadcasters often speed the credits up or half screen it so that you can't see them, and you don't really get a chance to read them. But everyone that I know who works in animation, they want their name to be on the credits so that it can go on their resume. It's really important.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I fully understand. My cousin, he's done some game work and stuff like that. He's got several credits to his name. Most of them are not great games, but his credits are there and whatnot. So and it's kind of interesting thing is the mentality, because you've got the contractual obligations for television, you got the contractual obligations for the gaming world, and then you got the contractual obligations for movies. And it's like, yeah, okay. It's like sitting through the credits of Lord of the Rings. That will eat your life.
Lord of the Rings or any of the Marvel movies. Those credits are like 10 minutes long. So.
Yeah, but you know what? That's why I watch those movies, is because of all those people making that great, great art. And those companies, a lot of them go bankrupt. It's terrible. I mean, did you hear about what's the name of that company? God, they worked on Life of Pi, and they actually declared bankruptcy on the same day as the awards, the Academy Awards.
I wonder why that was.
Yeah, well, it's basically because the big Hollywood studios couldn't or wouldn't pay enough for the effects that were being demanded, and then the effects company starts to finance the film basically, and who loses in the end is all of those artists and the company.
Yeah.
So that was kind of sad. And we all did green outs on Facebook and social media in general, where we just put up, green screen profile pictures in protest at that time.
Yeah, that's always sad when you hear about somebody like that. And yeah, they may not do animation for the biggest pictures or very much, but just the fact that they are trying it. It's kind of nice to have somebody else doing it, so you're not stuck with like Lucasfilm or LucasArts for a very long time. If you saw pretty much any special effects, it was LucasArts, because they were the ones who did it. And it's kind of like okay, I know Chaos will probably balk at this, but it's kind of, I'm a wrestling fan. And
here we go.
No, one of the things that everybody admits now is because there's only two big companies, or one if you don't count TNA, there's no independence anymore. So you don't have a place for people to go out, learn what they're doing, spend a few years, and then go to the big time with some knowledge already. You only have one place. So if you get out of high school or college or whatnot, you want to be a wrestler, you have one option. No matter what you want to do, you have that. And it hurts, because there are a lot of people who just won't see the point. And it's like that in any industry. If you don't have a way to get your foot in the door, a lot of people will just give up.
But nowadays we do have a way, and we can make whole films and whole productions in our own little home studios. If you're savvy and you really want to do it,
right?
You can do special effects, and you can do anything. Just sitting in your own home studio. You can record and music and score stuff and record dialogue, and you can edit and you can animate and you can do a lot on your own.
For somebody who would be listening to this and say, well, that's all well and good, what do you use for animation in case somebody's like, well, I've seen what she does. I think with some time and practice, I might be able to do it, but I don't know what programs do that. Do you have any specific programs that you use for animating or for like recording voices and mixing and that kind of thing?
My husband records our voices in Logic, and he's an audio guy, so he can get a much better sound than I can. He has all the microphones, and so he records it in Logic, and then I just get the raw audio files and chop them up here, and put any kind of audio effects on myself. And I'm using Sound Booth at the moment, which is an Adobe, one of the Adobe suite. For my own work, my little indie films, I'm not really bothered about doing really full animation, even though I come from that world. I spent decades basically doing in-betweens and full animation, and professionally. For these little independent films, I would rather do more films on lots of different subjects than spend a lot of time doing one film. So I'm using the limited animation technique, and I'm using Adobe Flash to animate. I really like Flash because it's fast. I like the interface. It suits me. I find it super intuitive. Also, I can go from drawings to animation really easily. Like if I choose to animate something that I've just done a drawing of, I can totally do that without having to change the style or whatever. I get a certain look out of Flash with the nice blobby line.
Right.
And that has become my trademark look. And the first film I did like that was The Story of Urs, which was, the one about the whole television series production line, the thank you to my team film. And that's where I first was like, oh my God, I really want to do this film to thank my crew, but I only have, a couple of days to do it in because the wrap party is in a couple of days. So I put that together. And originally I put it together as a slideshow. Okay. And I only turned it into a film after. And it was really easy to do that because I did it in Flash. So yeah, I'm using Flash to animate and illustrate my blog and my little films, and then I throw it into After Effects just to output the file for YouTube and do any other kind of effects things that I want to do visually. Yeah.
So it's not
actually taking a moment to mention YouTube.
Oh, go ahead.
It's a pretty simple little pipeline.
Yeah. Well, actually, just mentioning YouTube, Dan brought this up in the chat room, how My Life Me is actually available to stream on YouTube, as a side note. That's like the first thing.
By whom?
I don't know. Dan, could you check that for me when you get to it? But I admit Flash animation is actually it really is a lovely process. I just can't afford it. Well, I know that is like one of those hindrances because it's not the good old days. I say this, like 15 years ago when you could actually get programs like that for free. Whether conversely, you've got CGI animation, and like one of the bigger, CGI studios, at least in Canada, was Mainframe Entertainment through the 90s and 2000s and whatnot, doing like Reboot and Beasties, as it was called in Canada. And, and I'm a big fan of a lot of their material. So I have to ask, what was kind of what was the relationship with, like the animation studios with like Mainframe through, that time period? So I'm curious. I'm I've never actually gotten the information behind that one.
What is it you're asking? The relationship between animation studios and mainframe?
Or, well, okay, more of like, CGI. I know there's the process of, transcribing and yada, 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 so on and so forth. But I'm just kind of, how much like CGI, I'm not fully awake here. So I'm just kind of rambling at this point.
Well, in terms of CGI and any kind of when did it first really start to take part of my own professional life was when I was producing commercials for a studio called Pascal Blais here in Montreal, which is one of the nicer studios, and they produce high quality animation. It's been around a long time, maybe almost as long as I've been in animation myself. They have done an Oscar-winning film with The Old Man and the Sea. I don't know if you've heard of that. But these guys do a lot of commercials, and in the commercials were usually live action with some kind of animated character that had to be integrated into the live action for a product. And the product was like a candy bar or, a cookie or some kind of funny cake, or usually something selling sugar to little kids, right? We're talking about TV commercials, right? And animation is primarily used in TV commercials to sell breakfast cereal commercials, Tony Tiger and Nestle, all that stuff, right? So you'd have this live action kid in a kitchen with his mom, and you'd have, the Nesquik rabbit, and then the CG thing would be the product. So the animated character would be holding the CG candy bar. And the only way to do this really convincingly and integrate it convincingly with compositing and all that would be to do it to do the product in 3D. So that was really, I guess, in the late 90s when I was working in producing commercials for that company. So, but more and more over that decade, in the 2000s, more and more people in CG were drafted right out of school and into the gaming side of the animation world. And I never really got my feet wet in the gaming side. So it really is two different worlds, production, like visual production, and then the gaming is, and sometimes there's a little bit of intersection because there's obviously for gaming they do those little short films to sell the game, right?
Right.
Yeah, the full motion video. Yeah.
So there's some intersection there, and but usually the production and the crews are they're usually quite separate. There's two different communities. Does that answer your question?
Well, it does kind of, because it's just kind of, I've tried bouncing and if I was more coherent right now, that's part of why I'm not talking much. Because I bounces off my cousin who does CGI work for gaming, and then I kind of tried to bounce it off of Anthony Brownrigg, a director we know who we've interviewed before, and then I've tried to and now I'm trying to kind of bounce it off you, but it just isn't coming out. The ideas forming, it's just not fully coherent yet.
There's a lot of different steps in the process, and the way the industry is set up in the production pipeline, everybody has their specialty. Like you have the people who do the wireframes, and then you have the people who do the boning, and then you have the people who do the lighting and the textures and the renders, and everybody has their different part. you do have some people in the artist community who are all rounders and they know every part of that process. But usually in big productions, they have all these different departments, and it's a big production line. Really, when you're doing volume like that, it has to work like that. So yeah.
So here comes a great question. If someone was trying to get into animation, actually, I do know several people who are trying to get into. They aren't quite sure what they want to do as animation. Do they want to do CGI? Do they want to do normal hand drawn? Do they want to do They might want to do a little mix of both. Would you say it would be better to specialize in one area or try to be more broad spectrum?
I think that having a broad spectrum is good, so that you're able to know where you fit in. If you ever do specialize, you need to know the process before and after, so that you can feel like you're a part of a team and really understand what it's all about. So I think that to have a wide view, a global view of the whole process is good, and knowledge about the whole process. And then you can specialize in what it is that you want. Let's say you're really, really good at lighting. Then that's what you end up doing, provided you're happy doing that. But some people prefer to be all-rounders and just really know a lot about every single part of the process. This kind of thing, mastery, it takes years. It takes a long, long time. So if someone is thinking about getting into animation, learn the basics about animation first, and then, see if you want to go into puppets or stop motion or hand drawn, or, like I do digital animation, cutout style, or, a lot of people are getting into animation and telling stories with animation that through Lego.
Yes.
And that is
Lego.
really amazing. Little kids are playing with it, and it's fun. I know that there's a few programs you can get that are free or nearly free for the iPad or whatever apps that you can get for animation, just to play with timing and storytelling. It's always down to the story. If you're going to do anything, it doesn't really matter. Like, look at South Park. South Park started off as, really cheap and crappy animation that was, I think it was paper cutout, and it totally went viral with the whole Jesus Santa Claus. I think it was one of the first or second ones they did, and it went viral. Not because of the internet, because nobody really had the internet. I mean, some places did have it, obviously, but not in their homes. People hadn't really got, like, it wasn't like mainstream yet, where everyone had a computer in their house. And I think that was it was like 97, something like that. I was living in Vancouver, in the studio in Vancouver, okay? What happened with that video is that it was being transferred and sent around on actual VH tapes. So, when you copy a VHS tape, right? It wasn't digital. It was like totally losing quality. And by the time we got it at Bardell Animation Studio in Vancouver, it was like this really crappy copy, and we were all crowded around this one VHS player, and watching it and just dying, and then everyone wanted to copy and send it to their friends. So it went viral in a really funny way. And so sometimes low tech is the best tech. What are we seeing now on Vine? Okay, when Vine came out a year ago, it really took off as an animation tool. Some people started using it to animate, actually pixelate, basically, right?
Right.
Sorry about that. I had to mute my mic temporarily. But yeah. But excuse me one moment.
And do we hear children in the background squeaking?
Yes. Chaos and his mom are currently living with his sister and her kids. So, unfortunately, they are very young, which means that every now and then they get very loud. So it's not so bad. Like when I stream gameplay every now and then. It's not so bad like when we're just sitting around talking for whatever. What gets me is they always seem to have this. It's the kid dar. Everybody who's been a parent of some kind knows this thing, and this is why I read in the bathroom. Yeah. Is because the moment you sit down to try and relax, the kid is there. Why do I read in the bathroom? Because the kids won't go there. That is the only safe spot.
As I drop my mouse, I'm back now. No, actually, because I'm in a transitional homing phase of my life. I'm couch surfing, for lack of a better term. I happen to be staying with a friend who's got a small child who is special needs, so I make a lot of accommodations. So that's part of why I keep bouncing in and out. Also, then so not awake. But no, I lost my train of thought for a minute.
Well, we were talking about animation and how to get into it, and all the different ways that people find to animate low tech.
Yeah.
If they really want to do it, they will find a way.
Oh yeah, well, and very much. I was actually kind of thinking there for a moment was you were talking about the late '90s and the animation style and whatnot, and the internet. The internet didn't make things big. Word of mouth kind of thing made things big. And I just kind of sit there and I'm like, I kind of want to mention Jim Mathers and Foamy or Neurotically Yours. It's like that does kind of fit under there because Matt, who's a big fan of Neurotically Yours, and I'm a big fan of Neurotically Yours, have been for way too long. And recently Jim Mathers did a reboot where he upgraded the animation's quality and using new tools and things like that. Basically it's almost a whole new show where they even went out and he went as far as to make a joke about reboot button. So it's it's kind of like that does kind of fit with the kind of the growth and the change of animation, especially digital media since 1999 when it started becoming a bigger thing.
Mm-hmm.
And and going back to mentioning like mainframe, because I'm still sad they were bought out by Rainmaker, and I haven't seen my reboot yet. But and when you look at the the CGI animation of the mid '90s, the Rainmaker mainframe, who was the big ones at the time. Compared to nowadays, where the same animation, doesn't take as long, doesn't, cost as much, and it's like, it kind of, art form, especially like animated art form, really will stand the test of time. A lot better than a lot of things. It just in the presentation.
Yeah.
Now, and you use, you use Adobe and the cutout animation. Have you thought of I'm trying to word this without making it sound offensive. Have you tried altering your animation style and trying something new again? I have no, and my brain's trying to put coherence together, and I'm not doing well here. Matt, help me. Throw me a fishing rod.
You're asking the wrong person to do that. I think what he's trying to say is like everybody goes through times when they experiment, for bad or worse. Because like I said, I've been watching you for a long time and I've seen the style that you use. Have you tried like other projects where it's just like, I want to see how my drawing style looks in this program, or have I, just instead of using thick, because you've posted some where they're not the thick lines, they're more of a sketchbook quality.
Yeah.
Have you tried, I think what he's asking is, have you tried doing that for any more than a one-time experiment? Have you ever thought of maybe working on developing that style?
Well, it's God, I've worked on almost every style that you can imagine throughout my career as a commercial artist. For these little independent films that come from the animated woman, they're just this style now because it's a brand, right?
Right.
I do sometimes experiment with the style and push it a little one way or another. Uh, like recently, I did one called the F Bomb. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I loved it. I shared it about 3 seconds after watching it. It's like, okay, everybody in the world I know will love this one. So,
So
but
that one,
it's your kind of animation. Yes, it crosses that vulgarity line, or not crosses. It really tiptoes it. But it's your kind of funny style of approaching it. So while the topic itself might be a little risque, the way it's done makes it a lot easier to.
it makes it palatable. But
Yeah.
in terms of the actual drawing style or art direction, I don't know if Chaos is going there with his question, but I did push that a little more and put more time and effort into it because I added shadows. And that is really time consuming and labor intensive, but it made it look really nice. And I think it helped with the story because the mood and the look of the film and the suspense and the tension that I was trying to build leading up to the big F bomb was
Yeah.
important to add the drama, and shadows really helped with that. But it took me about 5 times longer than my usual thing. So it was an investment. I think it paid off in the end. But, changing the style of my own personal films, I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, the sketches that I do in my sketchbook and sketchy drawings and stuff, it would be really nice to be able to have the time and the money to animate a film in that style. But, it's very labor intensive. Again, it's not, automatically tweened um, little story. You're going to have to draw almost every frame.
Right.
Although it is possible to do cutout animation in any style, right? I could do that, but with sketches and sketchbooks, I would have to use something other than Flash. Probably, I'd have to use After Effects. So it's again, it's another thing. I did a film about 3 years ago called Frenching, and it was
Yes.
basically yeah, it was a story by this comic artist that I love. He's amazing. He's so funny and dry, and his name is Joe Ullman, and you should look him up. So it was basically his drawing style, and we got a little bit of funding for that film, so I was able to hire some animators to do it for me, and I directed it and storyboarded it out and everything. That was a really fun film, and that was not my style at all. It was somebody else's style. So
Right. But you did a very good job on that, I think, because honestly, when I saw that and I went over and I read it, it's like, did she just find some way to like cut and paste this? Because it looked almost identical to somebody like
yeah, it
me
was a lot of work.
who
It was a lot of
wasn't
work.
used to. Yeah.
We
Go ahead.
actually got him to redraw every character in all the poses that we needed, and then we physically in Photoshop had to separate the arms and legs and create all the body parts.
Ooh.
And then the animators put them together in After Effects and animated them in After Effects. So yeah, and what else? Well, you probably don't know this about me, but I do have this little company called Little Animation, and we do direct to DVD productions for children, educational stuff for children. And there's another film that we're going to be releasing this year, hopefully, when I can get it edited.
Oh, that's the 4 kids stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And little animation for kids, exactly. So there's another thing that I've invested a lot of time and money in. It's going to be called The Footprint, and hopefully it'll come out this year. I was hoping to get it out for Earth Day, which is April 22nd, but I don't think it's going to happen, just because of the book, Oh my God, I should totally plug my book. If I don't plug my book, my
Yes,
publisher will kill me.
yes,
Um,
please do.
so yeah, so I did a book which was based on one of the stories on my blog called The Last Snowman. And it's a book for all ages. Although it's, the main audience is going to be children. I think that moms and dads get a big kick out of this from the feedback that I'm hearing. And it's available on Amazon, and it's a picture book. So you can get it for Kindle or for print. And I think it's like $3 Kindle version, and I think it's like about $10 for the print version. So there you go. It's not expensive and it's really cute.
Yeah, and that if you are curious about what it's about, it is based on a post that you did a few years ago, which is
That's
how I
right.
which is how I knew about it. It's like, hey, this is something that me and Chaos joke about a lot. Is people don't do timing very well. One of our big things is during the summer we'll see a whole slew of horror movies come out. It's like, that's not, do it at Halloween. That's when people are expecting it. Not many people time the releases anymore. They just throw it out when it's done. And you did a real good idea in that you put it out over the winter. So
Yeah.
people were in that mindset anyway, which makes when they're looking for something to buy a lot easier because, hey, I'm looking for winter themed kids books. Well, we just happen to have this here. So,
Yeah.
and I tried to get my sister to get it, but I would like to get her the actual book, and I'm gonna try
Well,
and
get it off of CreateSpace because CreateSpace is Amazon's print company, their print on demand company. And they actually have their own little shop. And both those links are on my blog, theanimatedwoman.com. And it's important. I think a lot of people don't realize is that they're going to buy it off of Amazon. They're going to buy books off of Amazon. But if they buy it off of CreateSpace, the 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 artist or the author gets way more of the percentage of the sale. It costs you the same price, but we get more of the money because Amazon doesn't take a big cut of it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, my dad is actually a author as well, and he's gone through. Is it Lulu? I think is
Yeah, that's right.
he's gone through that, and he's gone through self-publishing thing. In fact, he has a quote-unquote production company called Eagle Entertainment USA, and he's actually got a
Yeah.
couple of friends who have written books and send it to him. He'll edit it and make the PDF file and go through it that way. And it is, I mean, yeah, like you, he's got his book on Barnes and Noble. He's got his book on Amazon and whatever. But he makes the most money. He will go to like shows out because a lot of his stuff. We live in Minnesota. A lot of his stuff is Minnesota based. So he'll go to parades. He'll go to there's a gun show close by, and he'll go over there. And that's where he makes the money, is when he sells it himself, or he gives people the Lulu link or whatever, because then it's, like you said, there's almost no cost at all, because you're getting
Yeah.
basically a print-on-demand book. And when you go that way,
That's
the cost is a lot lower.
That's it. But at the same time, if you're going to go to, like, if I'm going to go to a speaking event and bring some books to sell, I need to have those books, right?
Right.
And actually, print on demand for me, because then I have to pay shipping on top of that, it ends up being more money per book than for me to pay a printer to do me 1,000 copies. You know what I mean? So now
Right.
I'm thinking, should I actually pay a printer to do me 1,000 copies? Because then it comes down to something like $2.00 per book rather than $4.05 per book plus shipping.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to factor into it, and really, I just would rather be drawing.
Well, yeah, you don't want to have this taking up more time than than you want to. You want to be able to sit down, and like you said, this is where part of the problem with promoting it comes in. You want to sit down, you want to say, yeah, I did this great book now, but you don't want to make that your career. That's not going to be you. That's not going to be what your full time is. You're going to want to be doing your animation. And that's where my dad has problems, is he gets too caught up into it.
Yeah. And it can be a big distraction. I want to work on my next book, I've got other books here.
Just out of curiosity, do you have an idea of what that's going to be about?
Yeah, I do. I have 5 books that are lined up. The next one is going to either be a book called Motherhood, and it's going to be in time for Mother's Day, or it's going to be my book about my dog, Baby. And then after that, I think there's going to be Ball, and then there's a surprise, and the surprise is the real book. And this is why I'm doing all these other books first, is to really set everything up for the real book, which I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Well, and that's a good way to do it. You know what you can do. You know what people will be expected to do for you for the kind of books. And Ball, I believe when you started, you were even saying this is a future book idea. It's just that you were putting it out in chapters.
Yes.
So, but yeah, do 2, 3, 4, and when you get a group of people saying, "Hey, she can do books too," then here comes the big book, and people won't see it as, "Oh, you're the lady who does the YouTube or the drawings on the blog. Oh, now you're not going to be like an actor or a singer or whatnot saying, I got really famous, now I'm going to go do this." You've already got people accepting that you do that. And again,
exactly. It's like a name recognition thing.
Right. Best kind of promotion. You've already established it, so now just let it see where it goes.
That's it.
So I think we need to get going, though. We've got a show to do in 30 minutes. And we got to do another 2 hours on top of it. So
Oh, so
done our show for the day.
Really fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've got, the links to you on YouTube and Little Animation for Kids and all that. So but do you want to give out your any URLs or anything that, where people can find you?
Anybody who wants to find anything about me can just look at theanimatedwoman.com. And, The Last Snowman is the most important thing that I wanted to really make sure people know about. They can just search The Last Snowman on Amazon and find the book. Actually,
I went on your site and I've got the Create Space link on the blog. So because like you said, it's more it's better for the author to get it off of Amazon, or you don't really see much of it. So trying to help you out as much as we can here.
Thank you.
So, well, it was wonderful talking to you. Like you said, when you came down to Blogger in Chicago, I'm like, I missed you, and I was so close at that point. It's only like a 7-hour drive for me. I could have just gone over there. So, if you make your way to the Midwest, or especially Minnesota again, please let me know, because I have a feeling.
Definitely will.
I don't drink, but if you do, we can go to the bar and chat or something. So.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Before we completely cut you loose, Dan, who is the GNF Journal, who he does a bunch of different things for Pride 48. He does want to say hi and thank you for coming, and I honestly thank you. I wish I was a little more functional, but as I said at the beginning, Matt wanted to do this, and it's like, have at it, sir. Obviously, I don't have anything useful to input today. But honestly, yeah, thank you so much for doing this. It's just great to have people we're fans of just like come on. It's like, yay. I still live in hope one day I'll get Leonard Nimoy.
Oh man, that would be. Oh my god, that'd be funny. That'd be great.
That would be great. I'm sure we'd get a lot of strange attention for that. Who are these little geeks with Leonard Nimoy on their show? Just let him talk.
Well, we better get to it fast. He's not
JC,
feeling too
honestly.
well.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you, JC, for coming along and joining us. All right, that's all I've got because I've got to go like smoke and have a cup of tea before we do our next show or whatever the hell we're doing. If we do even another show today.
Oh, I'm on 2 cups of coffee, so I'm wired enough for 3 shows.
Anyways, should you want to? We're gonna probably put this on the Chaotic Ravings page.
It's all set up and ready to go.
Okay, yeah. So that link, and I'll do a shout out. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there you
Thank
go.
you.
That was my concern is where you can find this and sit there and go, oh God, why did I sit down and interview with these guys?
Okay.
It was the worst mistake of my career. No.
Okay. Thank you,
anyways, yeah.
Thank you, JC.
I'm gonna go back to my.
Okay.
Bye.
I'll see you on the internet.
Oh yeah.
Bye.
Oh boy. I did not expect that to take that long.
No, well, that's why honestly, unless I had something important to chime in with, sir, I was just gonna let you have at it.
Yeah, well,
this was your run. And
see, this is why honestly
tomorrow covered too.
This is why honestly I really love the fact I would love to get Anthony Brownrigg on something other than a show because we just proved we can do it. We can have a whole show. Well, we can do an interview segment and pull it off.
Yeah. Just let you do the talking, because obviously unless I've planned it out, I'm not good. Anyways, we're gonna break away for a while.
We're already done recording, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'm just making a Create Space affiliate thing, so hey, maybe we'll get some money for this.
That'd be great.
I know it's bad, but hey, she's not the only one who is trying to make a living.
A little extra money, yeah. Anyways, are we still broadcasting, or are we?
No, we're just talking. So we've got we've got about 20 minutes. So we don't need to do
I need to go get some caffeine and.
We don't need to do a huge show today. I'm fine just doing an hour and say, look, you want more? Click here.
Yeah. We just got done doing an hour and a half interview. There's a few things I want to throw out there, but anyways, let's go to like music for 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and then I need tea and caffeine, and I need to be functional.
Oh yeah, no problem. So I will let you go, and I will IM you about, we'll say 15 minutes, and I'll just talk for a while if that's okay.
That's fine. I just need to get tea in me right now, and so I can finish waking up.
Okay.
I was up very late.
Okay, and I forgot to turn off First Stream. So see you later, First Stream.